gorgeous? Does that funk have you feeling stuck? Have you questioning your purpose, or even yet having you asking if your best years are behind you? Girl, you have zero obligation to stay in that funk. This podcast is for women who want to get the funk out of here, who want to play bigger, ask for more, and step out of mediocrity. Imagine a life filled with lots of energy, excitement, and filled with spunk instead of that funk. This is the Unfunk Your Mind podcast. I'm your host, Crystal. Let's go! Hey, girlfriends. I have something fun and celebratory to share. So one of my favorite things to do is hang out in my backyard. It feels so peaceful. Like, not only does it feel peaceful, it actually also boosts my mood. I love it when the flowers are in bloom and everything is just so vibrant. And my kids are usually in the back playing and laughing. The energy back there just feels all aligned. Now, about 5-ish weeks ago, maybe less, I noticed a beautiful pink rose that popped from a branch on my rose bush. Now, I thought this flower or this bush was dead or dying. It's never produced many flowers, and I got happy when I saw just 1 or 2 blooms. So all of a sudden, I became curious because I took the attitude, what if this thing is actually supposed to produce more? Like, I actually kind of knew it probably should produce more. So I went to Google, jumped on some videos, and realized that I need to trim these babies or prune them. I think that's the proper term. Anyways, after learning this new skill, I took action. And drum roll, please. Yesterday, I counted 15. Yes, 15 roses in bloom. It's amazing. And I forgot to mention that I also involved my kids in this process too. So, yesterday, my husband had to put up with 3 females who carried this accomplishment around like a badge of honor. He didn't quite jump on our celebratory train. But when I crawled into bed, I reflected on the day and thought about that rose bush and how it actually parallels to life. Because I've always believed that truth often reveals itself in or through nature. And this wasn't anything profound. I viewed it as a simple call to action for myself. Trim away the dead stuff. Is there anything that you need to trim or cut back or prune to make you bloom? I can think of a lot of scenarios. Like maybe you're divorced and have kids, yet you still have to co-parent with the kid's father. So imagine a branch with 2 stems. Perhaps your kids are blooming on one stem, yet on the other stem, that is the part of the same branch that needs to be pruned or cut back to allow for a new bloom. No need to completely chop down the branch because it is in fact part of your story. Just trim the dead part. Or another example, prune away the way you talk to yourself. You know that negative self-talk? The way you talk to yourself matters. Cut away or prune that negative self-talk, that self-doubt, that fear. This negativity, this negative attitude, it needs to be pruned away. It's keeping you from bloom. It's time to prune that branch or that stem and embrace a more positive attitude. Talk better to yourself. Talk like you would talk to your friend. Lift yourself up. Believe in your capability to achieve greatness, to accomplish the impossible. Now, when my girls and I went to prune our rose bush, we just went at it. We did all the branches. But if all this is feeling too overwhelming to you, if you feel like you have too many stems or branches to prune, just focus on your priorities. Just selectively prune your rose bush and direct the energy to the most vital branches. Prioritize the areas of your life that truly matter. Concentrate on your passions, goals, and personal development. Make way for that so that at least you get 1 stem blooming. One of my stems, where I recently trimmed the dead part, revolved around sleep. One of my nighttime rituals was that wonderful glass of wine that I thought calmed me and prepared me for bed. But I had to actually cut that back. I had to prune that baby. As I've gotten older and wiser, that glass of wine is keeping me from bloom. So I had to prune that habit. Are there any habits or areas that you just need to cut back to open up the possibility for you to bloom? Or let's just look at this from another perspective, another angle. Do you need to take some action that will help you prune that dead part? Like that task, that thing you keep putting off. And if you just did the damn thing, it would prune the dead part and create more energy towards your blooming. For instance, you keep telling yourself you need to order the kids' school supplies, or you need to call about that hospital bill that insurance should have paid, or you need to cancel that annual subscription. These are the things that you keep putting off, but they keep occupying your mind. And then you start letting other tasks start compounding on that one in your mind. But if you just did them and knocked them out, my guess is that it would take less time than you expected or than you anticipated. These petty things can deaden your stem. Do them so it gets rid of the dead part and allows for your bloom. And how do you know when you're in bloom? You feel expansive. You're able to work in or on something that matters most to you. You're in alignment with your values. Insert whatever you want here. You should spend some time getting to know yourself. Becoming self-aware, this is a crucial part to unfunking your mind. What stem do you need to cut back to allow for your bloom? And really inspect that stem. I just recently found out about a TikTok challenge. It's actually called bed rotting. And the concept behind it is where kids are actually laying in bed, or maybe not even kids, maybe adults too, but they're laying in bed for an extended period of time and saying no to work so they can indulge in Netflix, eat a bucket of ice cream, whatever they want. But basically the concept is it's no work and they just lay in bed all day or for however long they've deemed as necessary. And basically some people have labeled it as a form of self-care. However, many experts have chimed in to say that this could actually lead to worsening mental health. And now I would have to agree because we're made to move. Now, I don't know about you, but I find that laying in bed for a long time sounds like torture. And my thoughts would actually signal my brain that I'm sick. That's when I really spend my time laying in the bed. I'm sure there are many people laying in hospital beds right now that would love to trade these people spots. Anyway, my point is to investigate or challenge each stem. You may need to prune something that you never realized was keeping you from bloom because maybe you identified it as self-care, but it's not really self-care. It's possible that you haven't ever expected to have multiple blooms as well. Like I thought that rose bush was only able to produce 1 or 2 blooms, or I kind of just accepted it. Because the stems and the branches actually did look puny, but all it took was snipping or cutting back some of the dead stuff. It's like it gets new life. Now, what if you just need to prune some of your branches to open up the possibility of new blooms, giving you multiple blooms? Give yourself new life, new energy that runs all the way through your body instead of stopping at those dead parts. Think about your hair. Don't you have regular appointments to cut off your dead ends or to trim your dead ends? Think about how much that reinvigorates you after your hair has been trimmed and given new life. Ultimately, you're cutting or pruning your hair, which helps your strands become stronger and healthier. What is keeping you from bloom? Or better yet, what is keeping you from multiple blooms? Investigate your stems because they might just need a little pruning. Like that career or that job you're over. Maybe you just need to prune something in it or trim it up a bit. You are worthy enough to be in full bloom, to have space to work on or do the things that matter most to you. You deserve to have lots of healthy and strong strands. It's time to prune your rose bush, girl. Become aware of all your branches and their multiple stems. Prune where you're not blooming because I promise you deserve to bloom. You don't have to wait until it cools down, the kids go back to school, or you lose the weight. Now, just like that rose bush, it's important to be patient. Patience is definitely not one of my virtues, but I'm working on it. I tell you that because these roses did not bloom overnight after I pruned them. They took a little while. Boy, was it worth it. They are beautiful and stunning. And I'm sure if you cut off your dead parts, if you prune your bush, you too will see great reward, great beauty. It's time to tend to your garden, girl, and cultivate your life. Watch yourself bloom. It's time, sister. Let's go. Okay, now time for the legal stuff. This show is meant for educational and inspirational purposes only. It is not meant to replace any medical or professional help. Before you go, Superwoman, I'd love it if you took a little action for me. Like, subscribe to my podcast and leave a review. Also, share the episode with a friend. And as a thank you, hit up my website to crystalsumner.com, thecrystalsumner.com, to grab free journal prompts. Okay, ladies, now is the time to go on Funk Your Mind, play bigger, and ask for more. Open the door to possibility and cancel playing small. So get up